Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, our show where we take deep dives into pop culture's newest releases. And new in theaters this week was The Iron Claw. It is directed by Sean Durkin. He is an indie director. I haven't seen any of his stuff, but this is from A24, and it seemed like a very A24 movie to me. I don't know about you guys, but so this is the story of the Von Erich family. They're one of the most famous families in wrestling history. It started with their dad, who Fritz, and he wrestled in the Texas regional, whatever that regional chain was called. Back before the WWF, everything was regional in wrestling, and he was a big name down in Texas, and he started this circuit, and he put all his kids on it, and we kind of see their story from their rise, starting with Kevin Von Erich, who was the oldest brother, and we see each of his brothers kind of join him in the ring, and then we kind of see their downfall as a family, and yeah, that's kind of all I want to go into non-spoilerish. So anything after this is spoilers for anything you guys want to talk about on this movie, The Iron Claw. But let's get your guys' first reactions to this movie. So Thomas, what did you think of The Iron Claw?
This was probably my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow. And why
What is
was
it?
that?
Well, sorry. I didn't really go into this expecting much because I
Hmm.
honestly just didn't really read up on it. I mean, I knew who the Von Erichs kind of were. I knew about what was his? Is it Danny?
So
The
there's
this
Dan, there's
David?
Carrie, David. Oh,
David.
David.
I knew
David Carey.
about David dying in Japan because that was kind of a big thing. Um, but I really didn't understand the whole scope of the tragedy. In fact, I've been reading up on it, and it's even worse
Yeah.
than the movie depicted.
Yeah, they had
Um,
another brother. And
yeah,
um
but
the
I
filmmaker said they
just
left him out because it'd just be way too depressing.
well, that's what I don't get
It
about some
feels
of these
kind of weird though.
reviews. Yeah, what I don't get about some of these reviews is like, man, that third act is kind of like is a downer. I'm just like, well, yeah, no joke. Like,
Yeah, you can't really sugarcoat it.
yeah, it's just like, you know what, that whole World War II thing, it's just kind of a downer. It's like, well, no crap. And so I think the performances were amazing. Zach Efron, I didn't even recognize the guy.
Mhm.
Um, that was absolutely insane. I don't remember um the guy's full name, but the bear, something White,
Yeah,
um,
Jeremy Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White, he got buff for this. Um, that was an awesome performance that he did. Um, which is funny because nobody in this movie was very tall except for the actor that played David. Like all the guys in real life were like 6 foot something. They're massive, but it really didn't matter. The performances that they gave were very larger than life, and so you kind of felt that. Um, the chemistry between all the actor brothers, I think, is probably the best sibling chemistry since like Apollo 11 and a half. I don't know if you remember the siblings from there because like even we talked about it's like yeah I have no doubt that these are siblings like just the performances that they're given like this is very very true to life and so
Mhm.
I can talk about some of the other stuff that really got to me but yeah this movie's again is probably my favorite uh movie of the year so
Jared, what were your initial thoughts?
Knew nothing going in. Didn't know the story. Don't know anything about wrestling really. Um, but I enjoyed the movie. It was a good movie. Uh, Great acting. Um, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again. It's one of kind of like a good first time watch, but I don't think I'd ever rewatch it. Um, but yeah, it was an enjoyable movie.
Jonah?
Uh, Similar. I did like it. I know. I knew like the basics of the story, but not a lot of details going in. And I think they did handle it well telling the story. I thought like the second half was gonna feel like kind of really different from the first, but it didn't to me. And yeah, the acting's great, especially Efron and the guy from The Bear. Um, I think yeah, there's sibling what do you call it? Chemistry. I didn't think it was the best I've ever seen, like in the first half at least. Because but yeah, and it is the best thing I say is it's a very like amazingly directed and shot movie. I'm glad I saw it in the theaters because the cinematography is really good in this, especially like the opening when it's in black and white.
Yeah, I like
That
that.
was
It's cool.
that was really cool looking. And I think I'm pretty sure it's shot on film, but I can't confirm that. I think it was, but it looked great. And yeah, like Jared, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but I am glad I saw it the first time in theaters. So yeah, what did you think?
Interesting. Yeah. So there was a period of time where I was into wrestling, but that was during like the Stone Cold Steve Austin era. So my like I knew Hulk Hogan and stuff and Macho Man. So it doesn't go that far though. That I do know the Nature Boy, because he wrestled till he was
Yeah, he was like almost dead, basically.
yeah, yeah. So Ric Flair was always like
Well, yeah, and
present.
I mean everybody knows who Ric Flair is. I mean, even if you don't know who Ric Flair is, if you pointed out like his picture, be like, "Oh, yeah, the wrestling guy, right?"
Yeah.
It's kind of like Hulk Hogan
The
almost.
guy that got to play him didn't look too much like him.
He didn't look coked up enough,
Yeah.
but
They
I
did
mean,
have his signature like hair whenever it got
yeah.
bloody.
Well,
Like every
he
time,
sounded like him. Like I'll
yeah,
give him that, but he did not. He didn't look like crazy like
e-
Ric Flair did.
every match he was in, he always had that blood on his hair. I always remember that. So yeah, this movie is a roller coaster ride for sure. Um, it just shows like the ups of the highs of wrestling and then like the real lows of wrestling because tragedy is not like it's not unfamiliar to wrestling. There's a ton of tragic wrestling stories. Um, so yeah, this
Kind of
did a
just
good
sports in
job.
general.
Yeah, but yeah, wrestling. I don't know. It's a violent sport, so they get violent endings to some of these stories. But um, it's a movie of very high and very low. Like Jared said, I probably wouldn't want to watch it again. I mean, I might, but it's just like that the high you get from like that rush montage. I mean, that was awesome. I was loving that part. And then it just torpedoes after that scene, and it's just like downer after downer after downer. You guys said the performances were great. I'll also add the dad in there. I
Yeah.
know I've seen that
Okay,
guy in a ton of stuff.
if you see like stock footage of Jack, uh, it's Von Erich, but I forgot his last name, his real name. Um, he is almost indistinguishable from this guy. Like
Mm.
it is crazy how good this guy did.
Yeah, and he's been on a lot of stuff I've seen. He's always pretty good.
I'm about to
Um,
say
yeah,
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter. He's great in that. And
As
then
soon as he popped up, I'm like, oh, Joseph got excited.
he's just like that dad that just does not let up on his sons and his ambitions for them. You see this in a ton of sports stories and just yeah, I mean, you know these type of dads that are just like totally they have charted the course for their sons and you know life just keeps tearing them down, but they just don't compromise on their vision. The movie, like Jonas said, the opening, I love the black and white and this kind of like the eeriness of
Yeah.
the ring. It just seems like so empty, even though there's like a
I love
crowd.
yeah, I love that opening shot of like the lights going on in the ring.
Hmm Yeah, Zac Efron did really well, I think. He's just so buff in this movie. It's like, wow.
Dude, I don't understand how that man puts on a shirt.
I
Like,
know.
he's like there. I'm just like, dude, like, get a bigger shirt. Good
And,
lord.
and like you said, Jeremy Allen White did get really big for this movie, but everyone else is so big too. Like the other brother, he's like real tall and
Yeah.
big as well.
Okay, so I did some looking up on that, and all the brothers are like over 6 feet tall, right?
Mhm.
Except for the last brother. He was 5'4".
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apparently he killed himself because he wasn't as good as his brothers. And I'm just like, that is man, to be on the genetic short straw of your brothers. Just
Yeah, so let's talk about the drama a little, because for me being an older, like the eldest brother, this is a tough watch. Just because it's like your worst nightmare as an eldest brother. It's like
yeah.
you don't want bad stuff to happen to your younger brother. So like Zac Efron's just performance throughout the whole thing, and he's just like heartbroken the whole time. Um and it's hard because he always tells them, like, right before something happens, he's like, be safe, you know, be good, and then just
Well,
tragedy strikes.
he even tries to like help them not make the right or wrong mistake either.
Hmm.
Because like when Carrie goes off to ride the motorcycle, he's like, "Hey,
Mhm.
should you be?" Yeah, no, I got it. And
Yeah.
even when Carrie's like trying to come back and wrestle, he's just like, "I don't think you're ready." And the same thing with Mike, like you're not ready for this. No, 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 I got this. And then something happens. It's heartbreaking to see uh, just him not fail, but just all
Yeah.
these predictions that he's having are coming true.
Yeah.
And
And he could
it's,
just tell that it affects him because
yeah,
and then he tries to get help from the dad, but their response is always, "Oh, you guys got to work that
you guys
out
got to work it out.
and that's just like, dang. I mean,
Yeah.
and then at the end where he kind of just explodes on the dad, and he's like, you were supposed to protect us."
I thought he was going to kill him. I really thought he was
Yeah.
going to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
But
didn't know how the story ended, so
I
I was
didn't know
like,
either. I was like, whoa,
"Uh-oh."
here we have another death. Yeah.
Um,
Did you hear our audience at that part, Joseph?
yeah, our audience was
Someone,
really into it, man.
someone in the front when he's like choking, he's like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!"
Yeah, our audience was very vocal.
Yeah.
Ours was at the beginning. As soon as the drama started, everybody shut up. But I will say that the Alamo had a fantastic promo before
Yeah.
because me, Alex, or not me, Michael, and Jared got there like 20 minutes before, and they had a full on like promo for this, and it was legitimately like you got hyped up to see wrestling. You're like, yeah, yeah, they're gonna kill Ric Flair. So, but they played like all the old uh world class wrestling? The
Oh, WCW.
Yeah, they played their promos and they're actually like really well put together. I'm like, these are yeah, they're like the Carrie's gonna kick his butt. Yeah, let's do this.
And plus, you
But
could tell whoever made this movie was really a wrestling fan, just because
Mhm.
all those promos they use in the movie, the old like ESPN promos, and
yeah.
the announcer guy he just looks like a wrestling
Well,
announcer.
that was actually kind of cool to see the ones that we saw at the beginning were the originals, and then we saw them in the theater. I'm like, oh, it's like the same thing. That's pretty awesome.
Mhm. We should also mention Lily James was in it as Kevin's wife.
Pam.
Yeah, she had some pretty funny lines in there. Didn't anyone ever ask you or teach you how to ask questions and stuff like that?
We now know how Michael would react if he saw Lily James. It would be
We do.
that exact same thing. He's just like, I fell in love with her immediately. We're like, we know, Michael. We know.
Michael falls in love so easily.
He's a sensitive man.
All right, you guys got any other things you want to point out about the movie?
The last scene is the one that I almost started crying. I'm not gonna lie. just that line of, because like Zac Efron sitting there, who's Kevin, and he's watching his sons play, and he just starts like bawling, and the sons can't figure out what's going on. He's like, "Well, I'm just kind of sad." He's like, "Why are you sad, Dad?" He's like, "Well, I'm not a brother anymore." And I'm like, that hurt.
Yeah,
That really
that's hard to watch.
that really hurt. Because I mean, as an oldest one, I do remember a time when I wasn't a brother. It was like a very brief moment in time because I was like 5 when my younger brother was born. But since then, I've always had somebody attached to me. Like it's always been that way. And so to not have like anybody anymore. I mean, I understand like losing a brother. I've kind of lost that in one of them, but not having any brothers anymore and not be able to call myself a brother, that like really just like got to me because being an older brother, being a brother in general is very essential to who I am. And just seeing that, I was just like, I don't know how I would react or if I could take it. That would be devastating. And oh,
the younger brother got me because he didn't even want to wrestle. He was just into music, and then when he does it, you think you just hurt your arm, your shoulder, and then he goes into the coma, and you're just like, dang it.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking into that, and apparently it's even like more trivial about how he like got hurt. It wasn't that like dramatic, like, oh, I hurt my shoulder. He just kind of hurt it a bit, and like, oh, we should probably go in there and repair it so you can be better when you're older. And it was like a freak accident. Like if he didn't have that surgery, he wouldn't have like died or gotten massive amount of brain damage from that fever that he had. And it's just insane.
The scene where Carrie dies and then you kind of see the afterlife where he like meets his brothers at the end. That was very that got me.
So the oldest brother, Jack Jr., like the one that died when they were young, that's like the worst death out of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, in real life, so the kid got electrocuted by a tailgate. It was like miswired. Had a seizure and fell into a puddle of melted snow and nobody noticed and he drowned. I'm like, like, yeah. Like, and part of that too is like the whole curse or whatever that they had. It was very much a made up thing that Fritz did. But as the story goes along, you're just like, they might actually be cursed. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm oh,
he like changes his kid's name in after that.
yeah. He's like,
trying to get away from it.
Doesn't follow him. Yeah. I was just like,
I would too at that point.
Yeah.
I did like those like quiet moments with Zac Efron when like, he's just in bed and he's like, I can't. And then she's like, just take him for a little bit. He's like, I can't. And he doesn't want to like.
Oh, he's so afraid of giving him the curse. Yeah.
Dude, like when the brothers are getting burgers, I love that scene. I love that. It's like, well, Carrie would get me a burger. Fine, I'll get you a stupid burger. And then when they're eating burgers, they're all happy, like, oh, I got burgers.
I know. Me and Jonah both had the same thought. It looks like Five Guys. The Five Guys.
Dude, the breakfasts look good that the mom would make.
The bacon.
That
was true to life right there. Like,
there's like every meat. There's like every meat. There's eggs. There's like biscuits. Like a whole thing of biscuits.
Apparently, their mom made great pancakes. So, the same.
Oh, I like that with Carrie's like, come on, we'll go get Mom will make pancakes.
I do like that end scene where the dad like comes in from working.
Yeah, that was good.
For some reason, I really like that scene. And she's like, I didn't make, or he's like, what's for dinner? I didn't make anything.
Well, I was talking to Michael and Jared. It's like, I just shoot him.
Oh, hold on.
Like, or kill herself or something.
Yeah, I did too. I thought. Sorry, you went robotic.
I go robot. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna like shoot him with a shotgun or something.
Yeah, because they wouldn't show her for a long time, so it was like.
But yeah, just that is just. Ugh.
Oh, and then when she breaks down, like she doesn't want to
Oh,
put
yeah.
on the funeral dress
Oh.
again because they'll recognize her. That was a great line.
Again, like I don't understand the whole criticism of this. Is like, oh, the third part just keeps going and going and going. I'm like, yeah, this really kind of happened. Like,
Yeah,
I don't.
there's like, there's just no way you could like make it a happy ending or
Mm-mm.
something like that. It
I
just
mean,
that
it
doesn't
kind of
work.
is a happy ending in a ways that he did have a family that could
Huge family.
come together. Yeah, huge
Yeah.
family.
Mhm.
That was very uplifting, but actually understanding the tragedy that this family went through is just insane. Like
Yeah.
I think
I-
one of the craziest things was that line where the mom's just like, where the mom and dad is just like, go work it out amongst
Mhm.
amongst the brothers. I was like, that's insane to hear. I was
Yeah. Even the people in our showing were like, oh, they were like, oh man. Okay. Any last words on the Iron Claw?
oh, so apparently the Iron Claw, that's from Fritz's tour in Japan is where he got that, like Tetsuo Kinsu, something like that. I forgot, but it's Tetsuo is like the Iron Claw.
Yeah.
That was his Japanese name, and so that's how he got it. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
kind of badass. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So anyway, fun trivia.
They love their wrestling in Japan.
They do.
their wrestling's a lot cooler.
That's the whole
They get
premise
some
of
good
Battle
they get some
Royale.
they get some good storylines in their wrestling.
It's true.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come, and we will see you. Bye.